America, a land of opportunity, freedom, and innovation. Yet, woven into its fabric are threads of conflict, sacrifice, and resilience. From the Revolution to Normandy, war has shaped America. These conflicts tested the nation's mettle and redefined its values. Each war offers lessons about courage, leadership, and the human cost of conflict. Through trials by fire, America grapples with liberty, equality, and its global role. Understanding these wars is a journey into the soul of a nation. The echoes of these wars influence America's identity and future. The American Revolution, a beacon of liberty in the annals of history, marked the birth of a nation founded on the ideals of self-governance and individual freedom. Fueled by discontent with British rule and inspired by Enlightenment philosophies, the 13 colonies embarked on a perilous path towards independence. The seeds of revolution were sown in the years leading up to the war, as tensions escalated between the colonies and Great Britain over issues of taxation without representation and restrictions on colonial autonomy. The Boston Tea Party, a defiant act of protest against British tea taxes, ignited the flames of rebellion in 1773. The battles of Lexington and Concord in April 1775 marked the first armed clashes of the Revolution, galvanizing colonial resistance against British authority. General George Washington, a charismatic leader with unwavering determination, emerged as the commander of the Continental Army. Despite facing a formidable foe in the British Empire, the Continental Army, bolstered by unwavering patriotism and strategic alliances with European powers, persevered through years of grueling warfare. The Battle of Saratoga, a decisive victory for the colonists, proved to be a turning point, securing crucial foreign support from France. The American Civil War, a tragic chapter in the nation's history, tested the very foundations of its unity and the meaning of freedom. The war pitted brother against brother, North against South, in a brutal conflict that would determine the fate of slavery and the future of the nation. At the heart of the conflict lay the deeply entrenched institution of slavery. The southern states, heavily reliant on slave labor for their agricultural economies, fiercely defended the practice, while the North increasingly viewed it as a moral abomination. The issue of states' rights versus federal authority further fueled the divide, creating a chasm that seemed impossible to bridge. The election of Abraham Lincoln, a staunch opponent of slavery, in 1860, proved to be the catalyst for secession. 11 southern states, fearing the abolition of slavery and the erosion of their autonomy, seceded from the Union, forming the Confederate States of America. The first shots of the Civil War were fired at Fort Sumter in South Carolina, marking the beginning of a bloody conflict that would claim the lives of over 600,000 Americans. The war raged on for 4 long years, with epic battles fought at Shiloh, Antietam, and Gettysburg, each leaving an indelible mark on the nation's psyche. Section 4, World War II, a global struggle for freedom. World War II, a global conflict of unprecedented scale and devastation, thrust the United States onto the world stage as a superpower and defender of democracy. The war, sparked by the aggressive expansionism of Nazi Germany and Imperial Japan, tested the resolve of the free world and reshaped the geopolitical landscape. Initially hesitant to intervene in another European conflict, the United States was drawn into the war after the surprise attack on Pearl Harbor by Japan on December 7, 1941. The attack, which President Franklin D. Roosevelt declared a date which will live in infamy, galvanized American public opinion and propelled the nation into the war with unwavering determination. Joining forces with Great Britain, the Soviet Union, and other allied nations, the United States embarked on a massive military mobilization, sending millions of troops to fight on 2 fronts, Europe and the Pacific. American industry, fueled by wartime production, churned out tanks, planes, and ships at an astonishing rate, providing crucial material support to the Allied war effort. Section 5, The Korean War, the Forgotten War. The Korean War, often overshadowed by World War II and the Vietnam War, was a pivotal conflict that marked the beginning of the Cold War and solidified America's role as a global police force. The war, fought between North Korea, supported by China and the Soviet Union, and South Korea, backed by the United States and the United Nations, was a proxy war that reflected the broader ideological struggle between communism and democracy. Following World War II, Korea, previously under Japanese rule, was divided along the 38th parallel, with Soviet-backed communist forces in the north and US-supported democratic forces in the south. In June 1950, North Korea, seeking to unify the peninsula under communist rule, launched a surprise invasion of South Korea. The United States, committed to containing the spread of communism, swiftly intervened in the conflict, sending troops to aid South Korea under the auspices of the United Nations. The war, fought on rugged terrain and under harsh conditions, quickly escalated into a bloody stalemate. Section 6. The Vietnam War, a controversial conflict. The Vietnam War, a protracted and deeply divisive conflict, left an enduring scar on the American psyche and continues to shape debates about foreign intervention and the limits of American power. The war, which pitted communist North Vietnam against US-backed South Vietnam, was a proxy war within the broader Cold War, but it also exposed deep divisions within American society. The roots of the conflict can be traced back to the First Indochina War, in which Vietnamese communist and nationalist forces, led by Ho Chi Minh, fought for independence from French colonial rule. Following the French defeat at Dien Bien Phu in 1954, Vietnam was temporarily divided, with Ho Chi Minh's communist forces in control of the north and a US-supported government in the south. The United States, fearing the domino theory, which posited that the fall of one Southeast Asian nation to communism would lead to the fall of others, gradually increased its military presence in South Vietnam, providing training, equipment, and eventually combat troops. Section 7. The lasting impact, echoes of war in modern America. The echoes of America's wars resonate deeply, shaping its identity and the lives of its citizens. From the GI Bill transforming higher education after World War II, to debates about veterans' healthcare and the ethics of drone warfare, these conflicts influence American society profoundly. The impact on veterans' lives is enduring. Millions have served, witnessing the horrors of combat. Their sacrifices secured freedom, but came at a cost. These wars shaped America's role in the world. Emerging from World War II as a superpower, the US assumed a leading role in international affairs. The Cold War solidified this position. In conclusion, America's wars have shaped its identity and values. Remembering these wars honors those who served and deepens our understanding of our nation's past. We gain a greater appreciation for the freedom